So we've brought our interesting form study into Mudbox, and just gonna kind of just want to warp it a little bit. I find the foamy brush is really good for this, especially at a reasonably large size. You can kind of make it more bulbous in areas, which is really great because when you get the scrape tool, it's kind of fun just to cut it back. Really big fan of this tool, especially if you get to you want to use this for any automotive applications. There's a car in there, and it's a really great tool just to, guess, I was going to say hack away with, but that's not really correct. It's taking large swathes of material off in one go, and it's really massaging the form nicely. It's really quickly, realizing the form. Um, I don't know, some sculptors thing that they say that they're revealing the angel inside the marble. Don't think we're quite doing that, but it's kind of interesting. It's kind of fun. It's quite meditative, really. This. By the way, I'm not using my stylus. I thought I'd slum it and use the old mouse. So yeah, there's no pressure sensitivity here. This is just pure three-click mouse action. You can see here I'm starting to make some channels and just flattening out sections and kind of getting some sharp sections. Now, if you wanted something a little bit more slatey, obviously you just sharpen everything up and just have very, very faceted. This, I guess, because it's a feature rock, I'm kind of interested to see, give it a little bit more form, get some channels happening in there. I really want to get that silhouette. Oh, you can see that looks a little nasty there in that channel, those lines. So what we're going to do is we'll give it a little bit more structure, a little bit more, we'll fill out the form, just lower the mesh density, or see how it pinches in there? You don't want that, so just enough but not too much, and really just bulk it out on the sides there and get some really interesting silhouettes. Then go back up the mesh density and crank it up to the highest, and just with the bulge just really give it that just along the bottom section there to really fatten it out and give it a nice shape. Spray tool's great. Using this stamp, it's pretty good. What I'm doing is I'm kind of trying to follow the curvature of the rock here, and if there's any cavities or just underneath certain overhangs, um, or even sections there where I think it just I guess overhangs, undercuts, that sort of thing, and other sections where there's already a crease and I kind of want to accentuate that. I guess this is kind of in a way simulating erosion, and I'm just really just changing either the size or the power or the strength of this particular function here. With the spray, this particular stamp image is one of my favorites. This is just pretty much makes this is pretty much the rock, and you can kind of just makes everything look like um, you know gives that proper texture to the rock there. It's pretty good. Um, yeah, really, it fills it out a little bit, but it's more just really just stamping on 1,000 years worth of wear and tear. Hitting back with the scrape tool here, um, just really, yeah, trying to remove some of the, um, as I was saying before, with the previous rock, certain sections are quite sparse of detail, certain sections are quite intense with detail. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to flatten sections quite abruptly using the scrape tool again. You'll notice that just before I changed the fall off, and if you change the fall off, you can make it quite sharp. It's looking quite circular at the moment, which is okay. We'll come back to this in a tick. Um, the stamp images really struggle sometimes to load up. I don't know why. But as you can see here, if you want to get like a slate type look, this is the tool for you. Scrape, especially when you adjust the fall off, so you can get it to be incredibly sharp, and really create some interesting forms, or which will create, tonal variations because the light will drop off on it in different ways. But I'm really creating again, trying to think of some car modeling terminology, but it eludes me at the moment. But you can see exactly what it's doing. It is just scraping away um, sections with a lot of texture, which is what I want. In this case, because I want certain sections to be quite sparse and certain sections to be quite full on, and we'll just apply texture again in certain places. So I guess that's the thing. So it's this constant taking off and putting back on, and then texturizing over the top. So what you'll find is that certain sections will be quite, again, it's going to have that textural variance is what we're chasing. Um, and now we're getting some nice sort of lines in there, which could be, it's like these hack and slash lines that you kind of see in rocks, and trying to keep them all horizontal or following the form. You can see those really strong erosion points now look a little bit over the top. It's all right, we can get back to them in a sec. As you can see now, though, the just getting all those lines to move around and really look like, a really detailed sort of uh, rock with a lot of wear and tear, but something really, really interesting. Um, and you can texture this up in in paint. Really, you've got a lot of spots to put moss, or if you want to have some spots where you've got a bit of erosion or water damage or whatever. It's really a really top looking rock. I'll leave it at that for the moment. I think that kind of goes through a few of the tools, the ones that I like to use. And, for a feature rock, you can do whatever you like. But yeah, just keep in mind some of the basics, which are have an interesting silhouette. So maybe start off with a Maya model like I've done in the previous tutorial, or this tutorial. And with that, once you've got that sort of interesting structure, when you kind of modifying it in Mudbox, think of the tools at your disposal. We primarily used, we started off with foamy just to give it like a little bit of a warping tweak sort of thing and to add some bulk. We use bulge to add some bulk in specific areas, but realistically, the main tools were scrape, and changing the fall off on that. We can get really sharp sort of edges. Um, but yeah, using scrape was kind of useful, and also we use that with a series of stamps. Um, and then on top of that, spray again with a series of stamps and at different strengths and sizes, and a few different stamps there. But yeah, that were the main bits, and we finished off with knife just to add in a few little very sharp channels there and little bits of wear and tear. But the main two, scrape and spray, they're the weapons of choice in my humble opinion. And you can get quite a lot done with them once you've got a nice little Maya model that you're bringing in. So hopefully that helps you out if you're struggling to make an interesting rock. But yeah, in about half an hour, that's what we did. Yeah. Again, this would just be for a feature rock. You need to have 3 featured, um, highly detailed models, and this would definitely be one of them for me once I hit it up with some nice textures and maybe a map, and brought down the topology a bit. All right, cool. Thanks for that.